I need to say, first of all, that my parents are still amazed that I could actually make a living selling funny books. And who would ever thought that I could pull this off for over 20 years? You know, you figure I've been doing this now for 25 years, and so I'm very thankful for it. And the reason that I'm able to go ahead and do it is because I realized a long time ago that it's not just about me, although everybody would think it is about me the way you hear me talk. But what comes down to is actually our store has become part of the community. There's people on the street that don't even know I exist, and they've lived here for 25 years probably. But there's other people that, you know, are an hour's drive away and make a reason to come here. And the reason they come here is, I think, is what we actually offer. I mean, when you think about, you know, what our store actually is to a lot of people, it's a lot of different things. But I think what people always think about is that, of course, we have comic books here, and we have the people who are the volunteers and me. You know, we make our store our store. Everybody sells the same exact thing, so there's got to be a reason why people come here and not someplace else. And the reason being is I think it has to do with our personalities. Other stores in the area have great personalities too, and that's why they have the customers who they have. I think that what happens is, I learned a long time ago that the customer determines what your store is going to be. If I had opened up on day one and had a certain vision, within 6 months I know that it had become the vision of my customers. And that's why this store is the way it is. My customers want certain things to occur in order to go ahead and keep on coming in, and so that's what I do. So some of the things that I do that my customers like, and that has really helped me over the years, is, you know, I go to conventions and I carry a certain kind of book. You know, I'm more into war and Western books myself because, of course, that's what my parents had me reading when I was a little kid. But of course, I carry everything else too. But now when you walk around the store, you'll see that there's butterflies on the wall. Whoever thought there would be butterflies in a comic book store? When you walk around the store, you'll see the old books on the wall because those are what is cool to me. Anything that existed before, you know, 1972 or 73 when I first started collecting, to me is cool. Anything after that, it's neat, but I've seen it, so it's no big deal to me. And of course I'll display it because other people have it, but at the same time, when you look at my store, you'll see a lot of older books. Not a lot of shops in the area would carry older books. At the same time, you know, we do like Free Comic Book Day. We do that every year because it gets more people into our store and introduces them to comic books of all different types. And that's what I try to carry in my store. If you walk around, you'll see that the store is set up with Marvel heroes and DC heroes. It's set up with horror and fantasy and action adventure. It's set up purposely because not everybody's going to care about everything. We do the genres just to go ahead and make it easier for people. Of course, when you first walk into the stores, you'll always see the TV and movie related stuff or the cartoons because, first of all, people are familiar with that. So when they walk in the door, they feel at ease because it's not something that smacks them in the face. It's something that they're familiar with, and then they just take a few steps further in and they realize this is a cool place to be. So like I said, we have the butterflies. We're now doing ghost stories because both Brandy and I think there's ghosts, and so it comes down to it's fun to talk about. We carry some local history stuff because, again, Brandy and I enjoy hiking, and so we can talk about, you know, local stuff that we care about. There's a lot of other things in the store too when you think about it that are actually, you know, us. We have the DC Vertigo section of horror because that's a big section for both men and women, you know. So we have that prominently displayed in the back of the store. It's in the back of the store, so when you bring your little kid in here, it's not the first thing they see is something, you know, ghoulish, okay? But we have it here. And of course, Marvel and DC are big things, you know, superheroes. So we carry stuff like that. But our store is kind of like all kinds of things, but at the same time, it's sort of like our personalities. You go to somebody else's store, and it's going to be a different store, and I can live with that because that's their store. But this is our store, and obviously if you're coming in for more than one time, it became your store too. So. Now every year on Free Comic Book Day, we have Chris Ring come down for years and years and years now, and he was the creator with his brother of Carbon Knight. And it's always nice to have him down because he's created a following now. So people will go ahead and come down just to go ahead and get new sketches from him, and also look at whatever his current projects are. So it's always neat to have different creators that come in, and they aren't just comic book creators. We also have Chris Wolf, who actually lives down in the Ephrata area, and he's the guy who's doing a lot of the ghost story books now. So we have different creators who come in for different reasons. What we plan on doing now, when we have with the ghost stories, is we plan on asking different ghost authors to come in because it's going to be interesting just to hear their stories. And what we decided to do for our 25th anniversary and beyond is that we're going to go ahead and make this more of an event store. Stephanie has started going and doing book discussion groups. We started with Walking Dead because it's so popular, and we're going to continue with that actually because it was so popular. We'll go ahead and do Volume 2, Volume 3, and further on. And we're doing other books too, mainly books that are stuff that has more than one volume, because honestly we want to go ahead and get you something that you want to go ahead and continue to read and read and read. So we'll be doing Fables in the future. We're doing Chew right now. We're doing Scott Pilgrim, which was a really cool movie. So there'll be a lot of stuff like that and a lot of different events that we have geared up. We're hoping to go ahead and have a t-shirt contest this year to go ahead and get a new t-shirt, because it's been a long time since we actually had store t-shirts. And that's something that our more artistic customers can go ahead and do also. Or if you have a friend who can do it, because actually I want a good looking shirt. So if you're not talented, but you have a talented friend, I want that shirt, okay? So, but that's what we do. I mean, for us, we're always looking for something new. We're going to go ahead and try to use, to go ahead and see if use video games or something that the town wants. There's a lot of different things. I mean, that's the whole thing about being called Comics and Paperbacks Plus. Years ago, the reason we actually were called this, and we had changed our name to this, is that we had read that, you know, if you're in a phone book, you should go ahead and be under a listing of what you actually are. Well, we are Comics and Paperbacks, and we have been since day one, when you really think about it. But the Plus allows me to go ahead and do anything I want to, and I love that, because I do. I mean, I'll try different genres. I'll try different things that people come in and say that they're interested in, or that I have an interest in. So I love the whole idea that we have, you know, local history now, and that we have ghost stories, because it's just cool stuff. You know, when I first started reading comic books, I read them because they were interesting to me. And what I do now is I page through them and look at the artwork. What it comes down to is most of my customers, of course, are readers. I've always done this because I love the artwork, and that's what I realized, that, you know, with computers nowadays, people can make all kinds of beautiful looking things, but you know what? Reading a comic book page is like the coolest thing in the world to me. So what we have done in the past is we've always worked with libraries, because the whole idea is to go ahead and get more people to realize that comic books exist, and that, you know, you can read a book and it has words in it, but you know what, you read a comic book and it has words and pictures, and these guys that draw these things are like so talented. And that's what always gets me. When people always say, what are you reading? I always say, whatever my volunteer is reading is what we can talk about, because they can answer the question. I say, because I don't get a chance to read a lot of books anymore, but I do get a chance to look at the artwork, and the artwork is the coolest thing. This is an art store, and it always has been. Another thing that people have to keep in mind too is that I always tell people that comic books are entertainment. You know, if you're coming in here to go ahead and buy books to go ahead and set aside for your kid for college, I'll take your money and I'll say thank you. But you know what? I would never tell you to do that. What it comes down to is I sell entertainment here. If you have cable at your house and you pay, you know, $100 to have a cable for this month, next month what do you have the show for? You buy comic books this month, next month you have the comic books to go back and look at, and they're cool. Or I wouldn't be selling them to start with. I mean, they aren't all fantastic, but at the same time, chances are if they're still being published, they're probably pretty darn good. So that's what I love about my store, is that it's ever changing, because there's new books every Wednesdays. I never know what's going to come out, but at the same time, I know what has come out, and that's what really got me into this to start with. You know, the stuff from the 60s and the 70s, the artwork, stuff from even earlier that I see in reprints now and stuff like that. But that's the cool thing about this store, it's ever changing. You never know what you're going to see next time you come in.